Welcome to another episode of the Metal Voice. This
special
week,
special feature. We're always doing special features.
That's why we're going to concentrate on one band, a classic pioneer band out of Germany.
That's right, the Scorpions.
Scorpions. Klaus Meine, Rudolf Schenker.
Lost Scorpions.
So, Comeblack. They just came out with a new album.
Yes, they did.
Comeblack.
But before we get into that, let's go to their platinum years, we'll call them. The platinum years when everything was going great for the Scorpions.
Jim, we got to go, they got their early releases, Lonesome Crow, Virgin Killer, In Trance, Fly to the Rainbow, culminated, like we said, in Tokyo Tapes.
The Roth years, we'll call them.
John Roth, more Hendrix influence, more kind of psychedelic. And then they said, well, guys, I think we've come to our own conclusion, like a lot of bands did back in 78. Van Halen had hit. Short, poppy, radio accented songs. These 5-minute guitar solos weren't cutting it anymore. Punk was in. It's a whole feature. And now where do we go from there? Judas Priest went to British Steel.
Yes.
Scorpions, they went to Lovedrive.
Lovedrive. What you had was two bands in one band. That's why they split. One was a hard rock band. The other one was more of a psychedelic rock band, we'll say. And suddenly they're out on their own. Without Mr. Roth, they're by themselves. And they had Michael Schenker come join him on
Matthias
Lovedrive.
Jabs joins.
A great,
guitar.
Here we go. This album, it's the beginning of this refreshed Scorpions. A different sound, more hard rock, more straightforward, more punch. Loving You Sunday Morning, Holiday, Another Piece of Meat. Here you go, and it's close.
I can't get enough.
It's close. It's just like he's suddenly a changed vocalist as well, because he doesn't have to follow those complex sort of song progressions. Now he could just do straightforward rock and roll. After that, we had
Animal Magentism, my personal favorite.
I loved Animal Magentism.
The Zoo, the classic. We talk about. That's a constipated chicken. You got the Zoo, which is a classic.
Eerie. I mean, when I first heard that song on the radio, I go, "Wow, this is a really eerie song." I don't know.
About New York City, it's the Zoo.
That's right, the Zoo.
That's right,
the Zoo. Make It Real, Not Fantasy.
Yeah. It's a great album.
It's a great album, and and it was very
not Lady Starlight, completely different with the orchestra, the strings, and everything.
It's a very chauvinist album, as we'll like. To say.
The album covers at all times.
I mean, you have the woman, the dog,
we won't get into
and then the man.
And
the
woman's
level
kneeling.
Yeah.
So we won't want to go there.
But it's a very chauvinistic.
It didn't make our classic album list, make it that album cover list.
No, I mean it's.
But the music is great. It's a great album. It's one of my personal favorites out of the Scorpions
early 80s
catalog.
Right after that, we had
the ever famous
Blackout.
Had a blackout. Blackout. Look at Jim. This is probably record company pressure, more commercial. Look, you only had maybe one small hit off our Animal Magnetism. We're kind of losing our focus after Lovedrive. Let's go. And you've got a lot of No One Like You, which is the perfect radio song. My favorite Scorpion song, I think, of all time.
The greatest guitar solo of all time of the Scorpions.
And it's great. And it cuts to the chase. And what's funny is Klaus Meine had a lot of back vocal problems. He had surgery, had to have surgery.
And who filled in for him?
Don Dokken filled in. They thought his career with the Scorpions were over. And he comes back with, many would say, their strongest album.
And you know what? His strongest vocal performance. Because he's mixing I guess he wanted to prove himself. Here he comes out of surgery. He comes out of surgery. He sees there's a guy, waiting on the wings. It's Don Dokken, who's a great singer. So he goes, you know what? I'm gonna really go over the top. Dynamite.
Yeah, but Jim, lyric-wise, I don't think it's their strongest. I think it's their weakest album.
Look,
I'm dynamite. He's dynamite. She's dynamite.
But
you're dynamite. We're dynamite.
I excuse them. I excuse them because they're German. What are we going to put now? Okay, dynamite. What do we put again? Dynamite. Okay. You see, I excuse them.
You give me all you need. You give me all I need.
Alan, it's not their first album. It's not their first language, so I can excuse them. Let's say
great music, lousy lyrics. That's it. China White is the exception. China White's got some great lyrics on it.
Yeah, it was kind of like the Zoo sort of like feeling.
No, but they didn't do that in the previous albums. They didn't have this repetitive chorus. It got ridiculous. repeat. Blackout. I really had a blackout.
Can't live without
Blackout.
you.
Hey, yeah. Okay, every album. You give me all I need.
To me, it's a 10 out of 10 album from start to finish. It's got its highs, its lows. It's very dynamic, and Klaus is singing in your face. And I don't care about the repetition because you know what? It's a great album's a great album.
Love at First Sting, of course, being the highlight of
Love
that
at
whole
First
career.
Sting.
That was after that. Many, times have changed. Grunge come in. Besides winds of change, you can argue that there's nothing memorable for the rest of their career after Love at First Sting, Coming Home.
Yeah.
And Still Loving You, which is probably the all-time number one seller for the Scorpions. Rock You Like a Hurricane. Big City Nights.
The guitar solo again.
The videos. Everything hit on that album. They finally just like Screaming for Vengeance with Priest. They worked their way up. Point of Entry was criticized. Maybe I'm criticizing Blackout. I mean, this is stuff that all the steps that the bands had to go through to lead them to this point. And it was a great album. It was really an album of its times. It is a product of its time.
And Herman Zimmerman, the drummer, who
wrote a lot of the lyrics.
I mean, there's your cornball
Ultimate
lyrics.
Party Animal.
He wrote a lot of the stuff, and a lot of people don't know this, and he's credited for most of their hits.
Herman Zimmerman, Herman
Raybell.
So,
okay,
which rumor has it, just why he's back with Michael Schenker, and they're going to be working together on releasing an album very shortly.
Writing more repetitious lyrics.
And then, of course, you had the World Live Tour and
Worldwide Live, which we spoke about last time.
Don't get me wrong. I think I'm only missing Pure Instinct. I got every album they've ever done.
It's a good thing you're missing Pure Instinct because it's pure crap.
Apparently, that's maybe why I don't have that one.
Okay, which brings us to the new album by the Scorpions,
which is Comeblack, which is half. Let's go back and those classic albums like the sounds like we had No One Like You and The Zoo. Let's redo them. Why? They were perfect the first time. Why redo them? And then they got covered versions, which they did like in the past. I can't explain the.
Now I'm gonna bring out my business thinking cap here. Okay, so what artists in the past in the '80s they own part of the songs, but they didn't own all the songs. The record companies own a big chunk of those songs. So what artists are doing today, they're re-recording their classics, so they own more rights to their music. This way they could put them in movies and commercials, etc., to get a more payoff. However, the downside to it is there's less sales today. It's
a nonsense album. Look, Humanity, Hour One, I liked. It was very different, and it was good. Then Sting in the Tail brought you right back.
I liked
that should have been the follow-up to Love at First Sting. It brings you right back to that period. Classic sounding Scorpions. And if you're going to end your career, like they said, there's no more touring, this is it, it's finished, that's the album to go out on.
Yeah, I agree.
To release Comeblack now makes no sense. It's to say, we ended with a very strong album, that's it, but we're going to release this because we want money or we owe somebody another. I don't know the thinking, it makes no sense to me.
I'm going to tell you, Alan.
They should have ended it with Sting in the Tail, and that's it.
I agree with what you just said. However, saying that, half of it's not that bad. I love when Klaus sings the cover tunes. This guy has one of the best voices in heavy metal.
Ruby Tuesday.
You know what? It's great to hear Klaus singing all kinds of styles. He has the Kinks. He's singing Ruby Tuesday. He's singing the Beatles.
The Stones don't even play Ruby Tuesday anymore.
But just to hear him sing,
what is he playing this for?
You know, Alan, I don't like your attitude. You have a bad attitude. Like the Scorpions. Look, I'm not saying this album's great, but I did like some of their reworked versions of, let's say, Rock You Like a Hurricane. I like Blackout.
Why? It done the first time.
No One Like You was a total downer. I thought it was done.
It was perfect the first time.
It was perfect. I mean, you couldn't get better than that. But I mean, it was nice to hear these songs. Would I invest? Would I buy this album again if I knew the truth? No. But I don't think it's as bad as people make it out to be. Like you.
I don't understand. Anyways, thanks for tuning in. This was a special edition Scorpions.
The Platinum Years plus their new album, Comeblack.
There we go. Thanks for tuning in. See you next week.